Hello all, how are you? My name is Dr. Boney. Get it? Bo plus knee. Easier to pronounce that way. I will be your instructor for MMSC491 or 691, depending on which level you are. So I'm going to kind of go over how this course is organized, how to study, the expectations, etc. So the first thing you're going to want to do is obviously go to the syllabus and pull that up, and I'll talk about a few things on here first, and then we can get moving along. You can read all this stuff. That's on you. What I want to kind of get to are a few things, one of which is how you are assessed. And then the additional part is going to be, obviously, here's your grading scale as well. This is what they use. This is the part you want to pay a lot of attention to, because this tells you kind of what's due. And basically it's weekly work, and so everything is done or due on a Sunday, and all of the dates are here. Like, for example, the first week starting on the 29th, it's on chapter 1, and by the 3rd of September you owe discussion 1, quiz 1, and just a one-time course procedural form, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. So this is really all the work that you owe me. This is also going to be very clear in Canvas as well. So that's basically your whole thing here, and of course you have a case study at the very end. I'll talk about that. So in terms of the exams average anywhere from usually around an hour to an hour and a half. Most of them are about 90 minutes. You'll take them on like ProctorU or at the actual testing center. The UD testing center will determine what that is for you, and you will get an email about that. So for example, the first exam is between 9:27 and 9:29, so you're going to get an email from the testing center having you sign up, for those that are in Newark, to the actual testing center, and you get 3 days to take it. You can take it whenever you want between the 27th, 28th, 29th, and whenever the testing center has that particular time frame available. So they handle everything dealing with kind of the setup of the exams, and I do all the grading and all the other stuff. So that just kind of gives you a setup, as you can see, how everything works. So now that we've kind of done that, the course procedural form, you're going to want to click on this, print it out, and then you post that as one of the actual assignments you'll see. That just basically says you're not going to cheat, you're aware of like what you're supposed to do and all that kind of stuff. So that's also 5 points you get for that. So from that point, if I go to kind of home, which is, I like the view of this because it's more modular, the next thing you want to do is you want to register for something called Edpuzzle, and this is free. And so basically when you click here, you're going to see a screen that looks kind of like this, and what you're going to do is go all the way up here to sign up. And when you go ahead and hit sign up with Edpuzzle, it's going to basically say, hey, is this a class you want to get in? The answer is yes. Put your first name, last name, a user ID, password. Again, this is free. And then once you're in there, you don't ever have to go to this site again, and I'll explain kind of why that is in a minute. So now that you've registered, you can kind of see I'm being a student here going through all the things. Now we have like the actual content. And this is kind of how this whole kind of course is set up. So this is just a quick kind of diagram of how this works. The vast majority of you are basically pre-med or pre-PA, and that is probably 90% of you. And so this course is really dedicated to give you guys some good practice for the types of courses that you're going to see in your intro PA school and med school. And a lot of those, from the feedback we've gotten, are just, almost weeder out courses where, you'll have a course on genetics or biology or whatever, and it'll be on like 8 or 9 chapters, and you'll have lectures or whatever, and then basically like there's just a test on 8 or 9 chapters, and that's it. There's no study guide, there's no, you just have to be able to read the book and learn. And so since there aren't as many of those here, this course is designed to kind of slowly wean you off of a lot of the ancillary support that you've probably gotten through a lot of courses to prepare you for a final exam 3 that really is just kind of basically the book. So the idea is exam 1, you're going to see annotated PowerPoints. You're going to have Edpuzzles, which are mini little kind of lecture videos. I'm going to show you what those are. And then of course the book. And then the exam 2 has fewer PowerPoints, fewer Edpuzzles in the book. And then the third one is annotated PowerPoints gone, Edpuzzle, and a problem-based learning assignment where you basically note take for yourself the 2 chapters and the book. So I cannot stress for you enough, ask anyone who's taken this course. This is an extremely textbook heavy course. And that's the design. It's supposed to be that way. And so because so many of you are seniors, we want to make sure that you have some experience with the type of courses that you're going to see in that particular context. Now, you also have me. I'm not just sitting here back, doing nothing and golfing or doing what I was fishing. I don't know. I don't do things anyway. But I'm also a resource. So as you're studying, if you have any questions, you email me and we Zoom. That's how it happens. So I'm absolutely available for that. But I wanted you to kind of see how this course is designed and understand why it's designed the way it's designed. So let's talk about, like, for example, the first chapter. Like, what would you do? And obviously it would be to start here at the overview. And you'll see here that there's obviously a discussion post. You can start there. Or you can just kind of go in this way if you want. And you'll see that the very first thing is this, structure of DNA. And just to give you another view what that is, if I go back here to this view, there's structure of DNA. And because I'm now logged in, you will see that this is an Edpuzzle. And basically, about half of these videos are my voice, and half of them are not. If someone did a really good job, obviously I'm going to use theirs. But there's questions embedded. So if I were to just kind of like take a look at, and see what this particular question looks like, or what is this thing, you'll see that now that I actually logged in and I have an account with Edpuzzle, it shows up here. So your name would be here. And basically I can just click get started. And what you're going to see is that these things look like a YouTube video, but they're not. And basically what they are these little tick marks. And these tick marks throughout this video, and by the way, this is 4 minutes and 53 seconds, they either make a little note to you or they ask you a particular question. And you get instant feedback whether you got it right or wrong. This is not graded, N-O-T. This is not graded. Use it or don't use it. I highly suggest you use it. And the reason why is that this course is not easy. And all of these Edpuzzles that I have are basically should be refreshers or reviews or fundamentals. So if we're going to be talking about chromosomes, cells, and abnormalities and pretty wild stuff like that, you need to know the structure of DNA, how DNA replicates itself, how genes are actually transcribed and translated, the structure. All of these are little Edpuzzles that are not even included in these sections, which is the annotated PowerPoints. So I suggest going from like top to bottom. Like that would be the way to do it. And taking notes on it as you go. If it were me, and this is just from what students have told me, they suggest going through my entire chapter 1, the structure, all of the Edpuzzles, all of the PowerPoints, and then go ahead and read chapter 1 of the book. Because then you're going to have to read a lot less of it. And you're going to already have the foundation. But, do what you want. I mean, you guys are in college, you got here, so you know what you're doing. But that would be my suggestion. When you're done that, then move on to chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. And then, of course, let's talk about the exam study guide. So I would also, by the way, look at this. This may guide the way that you want to study. So here's exam 1. This is 90 minutes. You're going to take it at the testing center. It's 50 to 60 questions. And I cannot be more explicit to you than to say, this is the test. You want to know what's on the test? It's that. These bold-faced words are pretty much every question of the test, and there's obviously more than one question on some of these, which is why there's not 50 of them. So I'm giving you a lot of support because not only am I telling you the major parts, but I'm also going through with a series of questions from every chapter that would help you to kind of define more specifically what these are. And that's the first exam. You're given a lot of support. If I now go back to the last exam, just to kind of show you how we peel away some of the actual support, and I'm going to go ahead right for a second and get out of the student view because you can't see any of this yet. But if I go down to what I can see and what you'll see in a few months, if I go to the last exam, study guide for that, exam 3, you'll see that this is basically just those bold-faced words. There's no other questions below it. That's the goal. The goal is for you guys to be able to take a few chapters and a study guide and the book and the Edpuzzles and be able to learn that way. So that because you may have never had to do that before, or maybe it's been many, many years. So that's the way the course is set up. Of course, on the right, it always has when things are due and whatnot. So let me return to a student view that looks more like you guys. And that's really it. So you want to be very clear on a lot of these. Now, as far as the quizzes and the discussion board, you do that through here, through Canvas. If it's, you go ahead and hit discussions, it's going to link you right to discussion 1. It tells you when it's due. As far as the actual, whoops, let me go to quizzes. There we go. Obviously, these will open up for you as you are allowed to take them. So quiz 1, you take it here. And I will make one last little point before I leave you. And that is that some of the quizzes require me to hand grade items. So if you take your quiz and you got like a 4 out of 10, please don't freak out. There's some of these questions are open-ended that I need to go in and grade. Sometimes some of your answers might be you typing words. If you spell a word wrong, the computer doesn't know it, it will mark you wrong. However, don't worry. I will go back in, I look at every single one of these questions, and I will fix it. So you don't need to email me that, oh my God, like, I wrote the word gene wrong and it gave it wrong. And okay, I can go ahead and fix it. So these quizzes are designed for me to be able to do that, and they also are designed to kind of help you with the actual exam itself. And so that is my little intro. Again, you can Zoom with me. You can set up an appointment if you want to Zoom. I am happy to do that. Otherwise, good luck. And if you have any questions, let me know.